Okay. It is a crazy night. It is, if you're jumping on now, it is crazy. Good, we're live. Awesome. I just got off the phone. A crazy night. So let's see here. Don't mind me as I talk to myself about how crazy this is and how this is going down. People are jumping on. Awesome. Very cool. Good. Hi there, Michelle. How are you? Okay, more and more coming on. Okay, good. It is a crazy day. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, coming at you. And I just got off the phone, literally went off Messenger onto this, and speaking to one of my friends who has a lot of, let's just say, intuition and inside information. And the world is changing fast. So, my first comment to you tonight is going to be, do not worry. We are changing for the positive no matter what happens over the next couple weeks, months, 2 months, 3 months, year, etc. Welcome to, and some people like when I get all woo-woo, some people don't. I don't care. We're sliding up human consciousness right now, and this is going to be good because we're going to dictate how this goes forward. So on top of that, let's start off with the craziness. So the biggest thing that happened today was finding out if the Federal Reserve has been taken over by the Treasury. Now, I am still studying this, so I'm not going to give any insight because I want official word. It was put up on Yahoo by an opinion maker. Now, the opinion maker is an expert in finance and economics. So I will tell you, and it was just said again, no matter what, we win this battle, and it is going in the right direction. So I'm not going to talk about things like credit swaps, paratransfers, Steve Mnuchin taking out the Fed, going to the Treasury, because I want to study more on it because it just happened this afternoon. But I will tell you that Q dropped right after it. So the stimulus was passed. It was signed by the president. And then right after that, the article went out on Yahoo Finance. It was an opinion piece, op-ed. However, the person who wrote it is in high finance. I don't know everything about him, but then Q dropped that same thing. So something is going down. Again, we win in the end. We are pushing this darkness, this evil out. Even if it takes a long time to really truly become us again, we are going to win without a doubt. The craziest part about this is all this is going down. The president has the highest approval ratings he's ever had, and this is the insanity of it. Mainstream media just put out, actually Fox News of all places, and again, I try not to watch the news, but if I watch something, they tend to be a little bit more right, even though they still have their own problems. So they put out a poll showing that Joe Biden holds a 49% to 40% lead in the polls over the president of the United States. And I looked at it and I laughed out loud, because if you think right now that, and I'm not, and obviously we're above politics at this point, we're above elections at this point, but if you think that Joe Biden has a 49 to 40% lead over the president of the United States right now, you're out of your mind. That's insane. The president is holding rallies and arenas that are full and have 50 to 100,000 people outside waiting to get in. And Joe Biden can't get through a freaking speech without forgetting who he is, who his wife is, smelling a kid, sniffing that, God knows what. This thing is going down fast and furious, and we are literally evolving into our next wave of consciousness here on planet Earth, and it is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I feel more positive about it than I ever had before, especially just talking to a friend that I got off video Skyping with. It's crazy. Now, diving into what happens next. So I have people continuing to post to me, and yes, I've watched the YouTube video of, I think it's like Positively Alexander, I don't remember her name, and the NESARA thing. So NESARA, I'm not going to go through all of it, but essentially restores the Republic, goes to infinite banking, etc., abolishes IRS, all this different stuff. So I have people saying it's the second mark of the beast or whatever it is, and all this different stuff. I don't believe that way. Okay, so I am staying on the positive track that we are going to something good, and at the end of the day, I, just like you, are not leaving planet Earth right now. So unless you plan on going and sitting in the middle of the woods in God knows where, Alaska, where no one can get to you and no one can find you, and live completely off the grid, then guess what? You're in the system that we have here. So if we have something like in NESARA, even if it's not perfect, but we restore the Republic and we abolish the IRS and put the Treasury back in place and all these things, and we go back to nationalism, which is taking care of ourselves first, and then have fair trade with other countries, guess what? I'm in, I guess. And what if it's a digital wallet and it's digital money? Well, guess what? We've already been there, so we know what it is. It is what it is. If it's gold backed, okay. So all these people out there who are like, well, we can't do that. We can't do this. We can't do that. It's not God. It's not. Stop. Just stop. I mean, at the end of the day, we live in a system. It is our duty, your duty, to make it the best system humanly possible, take care of each other, make sure we get rid of human trafficking, Pizzagate, all this BS that goes on behind the scenes. But if you give me digital money and a republic again, and a treasury, and a gold-backed money, and et cetera, and I get that in exchange for destroying human trafficking, the stopping of destroying kids, the stopping of God knows what they're doing underground in these bases, then guess what? I guess I'm in. Because to me, that's a pretty damn good trade-off. So enough with the whole mark of the beast, etc. Not everyone agrees with those principles. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that we're all here on planet Earth and we have to move on. So I want a gold-backed currency. I want my republic back. It's as simple as that. I love this flag, okay? Which is very interesting because before this I watched a video of a black man from the South who was carrying a rebel flag, okay? If you don't know rebel flag, it's the red flag with the cross and the stars. And something I didn't know about, which is very interesting because it's well known now, and even the president has been hammering on this, that the Democrats actually started the Ku Klux Klan. They took rights away from the black population, but yet they still have them voting for them. This gentleman, which maybe I'll try to post a video, older Southern gentleman, very, very deep Southern accent, actually almost hard to understand. He actually said the cross on the rebel flag, they lied to you. The cross actually means Christianity, meaning that people who are illiterate, they were trying to say who they were Christians, they actually put an X on things to show that they're a Christian, and that's what the rebel flag is. And yet the Democrats and the liberals and all the crazy people want to take all this stuff out of mainstream and take away our history. There's a reason for it. It's not because it's racist. It's because it actually goes back to our founding principles. So let me see if I can find that. I'll post it, but it's absolutely amazing. Okay, so some more things. Tonight, Governor Cuomo of New York said he made a giant mistake to quarantine New York City all at one time. He's an idiot. I can't stand him. I'm from New York State. I'm from upstate New York. He's in the city or in Albany, and basically he has helped rob New York State. He is completely insane. He is in the bed with pharmaceutical companies. He takes money from pharmaceutical companies and vaccine companies and then changes laws. And anybody on here, I have some New York people here that watch this. They'll post in there. They'll post all the different links that you want to show where he's completely sold out New York State. I used to want to have another home in New York while I lived in Florida, but I refused to pay the insane amount of taxes because the property tax alone are crazy. Switching gears, there's actually a woman. Reuters reported on it today. Maybe I'll post a link if I can find it. I think I closed it out. There's a 95-year-old woman who had supposedly COVID-19. She took chloroquine and she took antibiotics. This was on Reuters, so I'm not putting any lies out there. Reuters ran with it. She took chloroquine, some antibiotic, and she's 95 years old, and she's doing great. She came through the disease. She came through it perfectly fine, and she's doing very well. So 95 years old. This is all crazy. This is completely insane. We are dealing with something that is not fully real. I'm not saying the virus is not real. I've said that from the very beginning. The person, a friend of mine actually posted before this that they got the estimation on how many would die at least 95% wrong. They originally were going to say no less than 500,000 and potentially millions were going to die from this. And now they're saying it's going to be below 20,000 and probably much less than that. Meaning they were 95% inaccurate, and they're supposed to be scientists using empirical data. They have no clue what they're talking about. And I hope as this all goes down that the fraud that the medical system is completely found out in this whole thing. And I actually hope that the president is partially helping set up the different organizations that run this for failure, and that we actually, when we come through this, people realize the joke that mainstream medicine is, and all of a sudden we now realize that all the natural healers out there have been telling the freaking truth forever, and medicine has only been around for 100 years and is a faction of the oil industry. So I hope that all comes out, because the information you guys are getting on a weekly, daily basis for God knows how long is completely inaccurate. If you didn't know, I posted before that all the major leaders have had homeopathic physicians. Abraham Lincoln had his own homeopathic physician. When the soldiers went into the Civil War, they had homeopathic packs that they carried on them in case there were problems. They took homeopathy. So today, the medical industry has thrown all that out so that they can put patents on medications, treat you as a commodity, and sell tons of drugs so that you will become a toxic body and be under their spell forever. That's what that is. The next couple weeks, what happens? I do not know. I will tell you that Q has been mostly accurate, if not pretty accurate. The dates are not always perfect, but they're close. It is said that there will probably be some false flags that occur. If you don't know what false flags are, they are things like 9/11, meaning something that the public thinks is real and something the public thinks is done by a terrorist or whatever it may be, which was really done by the inside. So 9/11 was an inside job. A lot of the school shootings, or most of the school shootings, if not all, are technically false flags. Sandy Hook was a great example of the official story stinks. It doesn't make sense. It's not right. I'm not going to tell you I know the whole reason what happened or what everything went down. I will tell you that it's not what they say it is. It's that simple. So just be aware. If you're watching the news, if you're following social media, you're probably going to hear, at least for the next couple weeks, where there may be false flags, which is considered the deep state, trying not to go down. I don't know what they'll do. I hope they do nothing. I don't want false flags. I do not want tragedy and destruction. But be prepared. It could happen, okay? Okay, so there was a executive order written today, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to read the headline, only because one, I have not studied it enough because it just happened, and two, I don't know enough about it because I don't want to sound ignorant. I'll have to look it up. I have had a couple messages of people asking me what it means. It's the National Emergency Authority to order the selected reserve and members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty. Okay, so it means the reserve. My take on that, again, very preliminary because I do not want to go into something I don't know enough about. If you know out there, if you have people in those essentially departments or categories, let me know more information. But I'm assuming that whatever is going down over the next couple weeks, they need more people to handle it. Now, many people have said, what if they go door to door, et cetera, taking people out? I don't think that's going to happen again. The Second Amendment's still in place. People have their guns. Gun sales and ammo are rising. They are not going to use these people for that. I truly believe that if there are arrests that go down or there are indictments that are unsealed and these people are taken in, they might need, one, help with that, but two, they might need just to restore some calm, because if indictments happen, if things do go down, you're going to need people that in the cities Now, it's known cities are a much more liberal Democrat population. If you have big names who are Democrats or liberals that go down to arrests or whatever it is, you might just need them in the cities to restore some sense of calm so that it's not out of control riots. That could very easily happen. I totally could see that. So that's what I think it is for. I do not know for sure, though. We'll get more information on that. So I want to show you something very interesting. This right here is something that I hold very. So I'm gonna cover part of it because it has my name and it has a number and all that different stuff. But I will hold that up to the camera, and if you haven't seen that before, that is my Judicial Watch membership, meaning I have given the Judicial Watch money. Why? Because they are going after information on very corrupt individuals, okay? So they are hammering on Hillary and the 33,000 emails, and they are going after her to the point where she was supposed to be deposed, and she filed an emergency motion to get out of that. That has happened recently, okay? They're also going after Huma Abedin, which was Hillary's essentially right-hand person, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, okay, the corrupt inside job of the federal government, as well as many others. And I will tell you, I'm on Twitter a lot right now, following a lot of stuff. Judicial Watch is doing videos every single day. They are constantly at work, trying and doing everything they can to get these people essentially in court, but also in jail. They know something's going on. They know what's been happening, and they're going after them. So I'm an advocate for Judicial Watch. They're a very ethical organization. I get letters from them all the time explaining exactly what they're doing. And the person who runs them, I don't recall his name off the top of my head, good person. And they're going after to restore the Republic. So support them if you can. That is awesome. I see people pushing stuff in. Good information and good. Thank you for putting in the active reserve stuff, because again, I do not know all of that. I've never been in the military. I do not know all the little details, etc. But anybody who does and can provide more information, that is fantastic. I really appreciate that. Good. Yes, Ilhan Omar, they're going after her as well. A lot of ethics issues there. And I will be honest with you, I think as this goes down, if you wanted to go after all the people who had ethical issues, you would probably lose 95% of the entire Congress. Because I think either between ethics issues and just outright treason and crime, you would have many of them go down. We'll see if that actually occurs. I do not know. I posted earlier today that I got rid of our Netflix account because, quite honestly, at the end of the day, I am just not going to support the evil criminal activity, and I don't want my daughter seeing things. I don't need to watch trash. There's some shows on there I love, trust me, that I really enjoyed, but I will tell you at the end of the day, in a 24-hour day, I can find plenty of things to keep myself active via reading, studying, self-improvement, work, productivity, helping people, you name it. I would say that television has been one of the biggest downfalls of this society. I've talked before about, a lot of people call our founders geniuses. They call people like Tesla and our scientists and all the people who passed on geniuses, and I don't disagree, they are geniuses. However, how did they get so much done? Well, they didn't have television. So in a 24-hour period or 24-hour day, they worked, so they produced, they wrote, they read, they spent time with family, they were involved with things that actually produced quality in life. And so when you had that, you actually had production on planet Earth. That's how a country was created. The same thing today. If you take TV out of the houses and take all the stuff we watch out of the houses, do you realize how productive we would all be again? And so our founders were geniuses because, yes, they were divinely led and they were geniuses, but also they didn't have wasted time. They weren't sitting in front of a television for 10, 20, 30 hours a week. They weren't sitting on their phones. They weren't sitting on computers. They were studying and they were creating a better life. Were they perfect? Absolutely not. None of us are perfect. Neither were the founders. Neither were scientists. Neither were any of the great people. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Gandhi even made some mistakes, right? But they were good people. Hell, even Jesus made mistakes. He talks about it, right? He wasn't perfect, but he was a genius, right? Of course. So I will tell you, if you were stuck on television, if you are constantly consuming information, you need to start thinking about that and try to plan yourself and try to recreate your world so you're actually producing information. Go write something, you read something, write a book, write a pamphlet, who cares? Even if you have to use technology and create videos like I'm doing here, this is at least waking people up, educating people, giving them something that they can actually use, okay? Good. All right. The Kennedy Center. So one of the things that about this bill, the stimulus bill that went through, okay? One of these things, oh, by the way, someone said that, someone put up there Jesus was perfect. I didn't say he was, not, essentially what I meant was he created some chaos when it was necessary, meaning he made it known when something was wrong. He overturned the bankers' tables in front of the church. So when I say not perfect, meaning he ruffled feathers, right? He created change. He was not just prim and proper and did everything he was told to do. He created chaos where it was necessary so they could create a better world. That's what I mean by that, okay? Just because I don't want to have people beating me up over that, okay? Good. So do you realize, so everyone's talking about the money that was wasted into stimulus, and I'm not going to say there isn't money wasted in that. So one of the big things was the Kennedy Center that was in there, right? Do you know the two people who were on the Kennedy Center board before? Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice. So am I saying that the stimulus is perfect? No, but you have to remember the Democrats are still trying to slide money in to give money to their people, okay? That's what happened. Now, the other interesting thing is, I'm going to read this, and again, more research, because a lot of this stuff dropped right before I went on tonight. It's been fast and furious. I want to read this, though. The president also put provisions into the stimulus, okay? Meaning, it's very possible the money that was put into these categories will not stay into these categories. I'm going to read a couple things, and then you guys can go look at it for yourself and try and research this stuff out. But I'm going to read two small things. They may not make total sense, but go with it and then start studying on your own, because I can't study it all. There was signing a statement that says Trump will ignore requirements that congressional committees be consulted before allocating funds. Now I'm going to go through some of the verbiage here, and some of it's going to be some things you're not going to understand. That's fine. Go look it up the best you can. But it says certain other provisions, such as sections 20001 and other provisions that purport to condition the authority of officers to spend or reallocate funds upon consultation with or the approval of one or more congressional committees. These provisions are impermissible forms of congressional aggrandizement. Let me read the second part here. The second part is numerous provisions purport in certain circumstances to condition the authority of officers to spend or reallocate funds on the approval of congressional committees. And it says a bunch of divisions. These are impermissible forms of congressional aggrandizement in the execution of the laws other than by enactment of statutes. My administration will make appropriate efforts to notify the relevant committees before taking the specified actions and will accord the recommendations of such committees all the appropriate and serious consideration, but it will not treat spending decisions as dependent on the approval of congressional committees. So what I got out of this by studying it, but also looking at what other people are talking about it, was it is very possible that some of those things that congressional committees said the money is going to go here to, the president, the way he did it, may have put it in place where he can go above the committees for this specific thing, not all the time, and put that money where he actually wants it. So just because there's hundreds of millions of dollars going to things that we do not want, I believe he may be able to go in and actually reroute that money to things we actually want it to go to, or he wants it to go to. So keep that keep that in mind, okay? That it might be okay. Now, before I jump off tonight, the last part, because I have a lot more studying to do because there was so much that went down. The mainstream media did not cover a certain thing tonight after the president spoke. There was a gentleman behind the president, older gentleman, balding, hair on the sides, a little bit more plump. I don't remember his name. But actually, him and a couple other ones stepped up. The president asked to make sure that through this whole thing, families that didn't have as much money were still taken care of, specifically children. Excuse me. So there's a company called McLean Global, who's also working with Panera, Panera restaurants, where they're actually going to create foods or meals according to USDA regulations. Now, that's not perfect, doesn't mean it's organic, but at least it's something. They're actually going to prep meals and have those delivered to families over, I'm guessing, the next couple weeks or so. So very interesting that they're actually providing meals with people who are maybe underprivileged, don't have as much money, and making sure the kids actually get it. And specifically, they talked, not just families, they spoke specifically about helping kids, to making sure kids were properly and well fed, which I think is fantastic, the fact that they're actually going over that and making sure people are taken care of. So I hope that helps people. Good. People are saying the Fed is dead. Let's go to some questions. If you have them, put them up here. I'm not arguing with anybody tonight. I'm having fun. I'm not arguing over the Fed, religion, food, you name it. We're going to see what people have. The active reserve, people are talking about that, which is great. Okay, good. We're going to find out what's going on with that. Is there a media blackout? I heard there still would be a media blackout. Some people are asking me about media as in watching television. What do I watch? Watch YouTube. Learn something. Go study something. It is far more fun to study and learn things than it is just to consume content all the time. Okay, good. Okay, good. Any questions here? I'm looking questions. I appreciate people thanking me for being bold and fearless. Hey, it's just truth. Yeah, so everyone, guys, do me a favor. Don't focus on the Jesus thing. I wasn't knocking Jesus, okay? I love Jesus. He was an amazing person, savior of this planet, and meant well. What I'm saying is he knew how to ruffle feathers and create action when it was necessary, okay? That's what I'm saying. Okay, good. Good. Just imagine a world without internet for a few days. Like a lot of us in my age bracket and older probably wouldn't mind a few days without the internet or so. My worry is the millennials, not because I think they're bad, but they've been so brought up on technology that I don't know what they'll do when their phone doesn't necessarily turn on or do what it's supposed to do in the morning. But I hope it's an actually reconnection to the family. So that's my hope for it. Did Donald Trump really take over the Fed? I do not know. I'm looking into that. I am personally waiting for something official. I'm skeptical on stuff like this. So the Fed to the Treasury is one of the biggest moves in my lifetime. So I'm not going to just start posting stuff about the Fed is gone because I don't necessarily believe that. And even if it was taken over, it's a transition period. You will not end the Fed overnight. You will have to transition slowly over to the Treasury for that to happen. And that could take a year plus. It's not going to be overnight, okay? But good question. Did I hear the song Bob Dylan put out? I did. It was 17 minutes long. I did not. Excuse me. I did not hear the whole thing. I'll have to listen to it, but I did read some of the lyrics, which were very fascinating. It was pointing to JFK. Do I have a podcast I like to listen to? Wow. Maybe what I'll do is I'll post some images on my cell phone, a podcast. So I don't listen to the radio anymore. Actually, if I do listen to the radio, my truck right now, radio station is old school country music on XM radio. Like when I say old school, I'm talking like hee-haw days, old school, because I grew up around that stuff, and I just, as the older I get a little more traditional, and I appreciate quality music, and I don't listen to anything typically that's newer, but I don't listen to a lot of music in the truck at all. You listen to podcasts, a lot of marketing podcasts, a lot of spiritual podcasts, a lot of political stuff, Yeah, so that's what I do. Queen Elizabeth has coronavirus. I saw that article. I don't trust the source of that article yet. If Queen Elizabeth had the coronavirus, every mainstream media outlet would be running it. So one of the problems, unfortunately, in all the conspiracy world is that people put up anything that kind of aligns with their mindset or what they want out there. I did see that. That is why I didn't post that, but that's why I didn't post that the Fed was dead, because I don't want to be that person. I want proof. So I do not know that. I don't think Queen Elizabeth has it. I saw one article from a quote-unquote not necessarily reliable source. What's the deal with the reserve? Go back and watch the videos. Why the Federal Reserve is so bad. Dell Bigtree on Highwire. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate being put on that same level as Dell or close to it. I do know Dell. We have had dinner together. Amazing person. He's a warrior, patriot. He's amazing. Have indictments been unsealed? Not yet. Some of them have. I mean, the Maduro indictment was unsealed. That was yesterday. What's a good website to read about the stimulus package? So this is a good question. You literally have to go read the actual bill. So my wife, I was seeing some patients today off and on. My wife has an admin day. She does a lot of the business side of our practice, and most of it, she's amazing at it. And she was actually reading through it. So some of the stimulus stuff, we originally thought maybe we were going to take advantage of some of the loans, but quite honestly, it doesn't benefit us necessarily. So I don't know that we will, but I will tell you, just go on the government website, actually start reading it yourself. This is actually, it's a really good question because it leads into something else I wanted to talk about, which was one of the most important things you can do. I hear a lot of people talk about, well, they don't like politics. They don't want to be involved in politics. They don't want to read the news. They don't want to, none of this. They don't want to be involved with their government. That is why we're in the spot that we're in right now, because people stopped caring and stopped looking. One reason is because school took them away from that. It was all misunderstandings to them. They didn't get it. I mean, I remember went through elementary school and we talked about, the executive, legislative, judicial branches. And I remember that part, but I didn't remember understanding all of it. And so I kind of slid away for a while. But I will tell you, one of the most important things you can do, it doesn't mean you have to be a lawyer, but you need to go read the stuff your Congress is putting through. So for example, I spend a lot of time bringing up on the government website the actual bills when they first get started or they're brought to the floor. And then I read them all the way through, and I'm not perfectly reading them. I have to understand. I have to break it down. I will tell you, it's not easy, but it means you're informed. And I will tell you, no matter what, the best way going forward for us to take back control of our government for the people is you have to get involved and engaged. That does not mean, excuse me, that does not mean you have to run for office. That does not mean that. But you need to be engaged. And one of the reasons, the biggest reason we lost control of our government over to these evil people is because we stopped being engaged about what was happening, and we started being just given a handout, and we let responsibility go. If you want a government, if you want a republic that is great, like America should be, you and I are responsible for that. We're responsible for what's going on every single day. That does not mean going and watch the news, CNN, Fox, MSNBC. That's not what that is. It means going right to the sites and actually looking at it. Going to C-SPAN and actually watching what they do on the floor. Like, for example, the impeachment. I watched most of the impeachment. I didn't watch this latter part in the Senate because that was just drove me up a wall. I watched the House part of the impeachment because you need to know what's going on. You need to know what they're going after him for. Because if you watch that, there's so many people out there in the liberal world who's saying he's guilty as hell, put him away. If you watch it, legally, they had nothing on him. Okay, and that's not because I'm in the bag for him. That's just legally they had nothing on him. So it's so important to understand what is going on with our government so we can continue to be in control of it. Okay, good. Excellent. Can we take money out of the bank? Not necessarily. We've had that question before. I don't believe so. Good. First time listening, Peggy, thank you so much. I appreciate you listening. Excellent. Phone making noise, emergency alert. Yes, so it's very possible that if we go dark without internet for, say, a week, 10 days, that most likely the president will be using the emergency alert system to broadcast to us, okay? Corona means crown, yes. Okay, good. Stance digital. What if I stance on the digital dollar? We already have a digital dollar. So my stance is, as long as we have a gold-backed currency or a metals-backed currency, and you restore the Repbulic and you go back to a Treasury and you abolish the IRS, or at least do something with it, I'm not saying I'm 100% for it, but I'm going in the right direction. So good. Yes, cell phone companies, I believe, gave some extra data this month. Not necessarily, that's a good thing, possibly. Good. Okay, your dedication is appreciated. But thank you, I appreciate that very much. Good. Okay, let's talk about Dr. Shiva. Okay, so can I tell you something about Dr. Shiva? I've met Dr. Shiva. I will tell you, I have reached out to Dr. Shiva a couple different times, and I'm going to make this public because I don't care at this point. He's a great guy, very nice. He was very cordial when we met. I have reached out to Dr. Shiva on several occasions. I'll reach out and invite again that I want to talk to him and interview him live and publicly. Not only that, but I've reached out, I've gotten nothing back, and on top of that, I actually had some people in the anti-vax movement who said some negative things about me, who also, I believe, said things to Dr. Shiva about me, because I originally was going to potentially help him with a couple things, and all that stuff went quiet. So I still have an invite out to him. I appreciate him. I love his information. He's a genius, and I would love to have him live and talk. But as of lately, I have heard nothing back. I've reached out to him several times. And on top of that, I've reached out, I've looked at the different video feeds that people are interviewing him on, and they're getting probably 100, 200 people live watching. Folks, we're getting 1,000 plus people on some of these feeds, and so I would love to bring my audience, you guys, to him, because the more power we push to people like him who are good, the better we are. So that is my public ask for Dr. Shiva to come on Revolution Network. We will chat, and I will let him talk. And we're on the same page, so I have no reason to beat him up and anything like that. Fantastic guy, knows immunology. Would love to talk to him. Thank you for bringing that question up. Got on my little pedestal there. Do we need a landline? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, unless you really want to. Yes, you watch X22, Fed went to reserve. Yes, I still want official information that the Fed went to the reserve. Okay, I want official, I want literally, I almost need the president telling me that until I'm fully on board. Good. Okay. Buy stocks? Yeah, if you want to buy stocks and you know how to work the market, this is the time to buy, absolutely. I don't necessarily have any stock market tips for you because I'm not in the market. But yeah, I'm more in a little bit of cryptocurrency here and there, and then gold and silver. If you really want long-term investments, gold and silver coins, numismatic coins are your best bet. If you ask me for it, I'll send you the link to the best one I know. Good. Okay. I think that's kind of about a lot of the same questions. Good. Okay. I think a lot, the other questions are kind of the same, so I don't see anything super new. So if you have those questions, go ahead and watch the other videos. Okay, money out of the bank, same answer. Go back and watch. I'm not going to tell you everything about that because I'm not a financial advisor. I would just say you take out as much as comfortable with. Good. Okay, awesome. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll through. There's so many. Good. I think that's about it, guys. It is Friday night. It's after 10 o'clock, and I don't want to hold you forever. I appreciate you all being on, and it's been a crazy Friday, which is always fun. Any thought on the girl rescued? So my thought on the girl rescued is, this is my initial thought, is either I saw one theory that it was about the Statue of Liberty, which I don't necessarily love that theory. My theory is that somehow someone well-known was kidnapped at some point in time years ago, and they probably either found her or got a hold of her, and she may have answers to the trafficking, and she may know people in high positions, and maybe they got her and are talking with her and getting more information on how to take this whole thing down. That's kind of that's where I am on that. The president never says something unless he means something with it. So the fact that the other day that he said that in his press briefing means that something's going to come about that, because the president is very intentional with his words. He won't just say something to say something. So hope that helps. I will send the link out for the coins to buy. That's not a problem. I will do that. Am I staying indoors or heading out to vitamin? Good question. I'm inside a lot during the day, but I work in a beautiful historical community, and I live in a really nice neighborhood area. And so I'm probably out walking for upwards of 20 minutes, a half hour a day in beautiful bright sunshine without any glasses on. And so I get plenty of my vitamin D, yes, the natural way. Good. Good. Excellent. I hope that helps everyone. I will say this. I was going to post this earlier, but I held off on it. It's very fascinating because I've always been not critical of presidents, but I knew they were all puppets. And I know how it works, the Federal Reserve, etc. And I will tell you that he may be the greatest salesperson in the face of the planet, but you can usually tell when someone is BSing you. And I will say that at this point, and I kind of have to do this, but I will say at this point that I put my trust behind the President of the United States, because what he is saying, how he is saying it, with the intention he's saying it, I believe he is taking us in the right direction, and he really, really does love his country, and he wants good for the people. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a president for a long time. We're always going to have presidents the way our government works. A republic, it's the way it should work. It's the best form of government we've had so far. So I appreciate a president who thinks and acts that way and talks that way, and he talks tough, and he's not perfect, but he's a leader. And that's what business people, that's what leaders do, that's what successful leaders do, is they get business taken care of. And last but not least, because I had some questions on this shirt, I despise psychiatric medications. If you are on them, I do not despise you, I care for you, but I know the dangers of psychiatric drugs. I see it every single day in practice, both on adults as well as children. And there is no child who is stupid. There's no child who is dumb. There's no child who... every child is a genius. And drugging kids is never the answer. It's not the root cause. There is not a biological or biochemical problem in their brain. The problem is we've destroyed our environment, our food, etc. And so I am a firm advocate of stopping the psychiatric drugging of all people, but especially children, because our children are our future. And between the psychiatric drugging of kids and the vaccination and the glyphosate causing of autism, we are struggling with our children right now, and that is our next civilization. So we must save them. And so this shirt is one of my ways of helping save. Is I give money to an organization called CCHR, cchr.org, Citizen Commission for Human Rights. They're an amazing group. They have lawyers all over the place. We have an amazing attorney here in Florida who actually fights for children. And so I believe in feeding kids, taking care of kids, helping kids express the best in themselves and be creative geniuses that they are. And so that's what I love to do. I love helping kids and taking care of kids and getting kids off medications as best as possible with really good high quality food, nutritional supplements, and just ways of making yourself better through goals and diaries and physical activity, and you name it. So if anybody has any questions about that, you can go to you can actually email me, gethealthy@drjasondean.com, because I help kids every single day. I'm more than happy to help you and your kids. If you have questions, it's questions@drjasondean.com. And I hope that helps. I hope we're pushing good positive vibes out there and helping humanity, because that's what we need to do. But as I said at the very beginning, no matter what happens, guess what? You and I are going on to live an amazing life after this, and we're going to have an amazing world, an amazing country, no matter what, because in the end, as I believe, God, universe, humans who are good people and do the right things, we always win in the end. So do me a favor, go out there, serve people, help someone, stay above the chaos, and be happy and be well. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, signing off tonight. I hope you guys have an amazing Friday night. I will see you this weekend. Take care of yourselves. Be well.